Hi, if you are searching for a dynamic event calendar, or if you want to learn how to create a dynamic event calendar by using PHP, so in this video we will learn how to create a dynamic event calendar. So before we are going for a coding, let's check the output. Here we already created one demo for you. Here you can see, suppose you want to add one event, right? Suppose I need to create one event and I click on save event. That event will be stored inside this database and also display on this calendar. So also you can see this event also stored inside the database, and also you can set range event also. Select the date and suppose here we are taking one, this is test, and you can change date also. You can take a date and also you can change date from here. Now click on save event. That event will be stored in the range. So here you can see this is test. So range wise event also you can put here. So how is it possible and how to create this dynamic event calendar? For that we created one demo for you, and step by step we will see how to create dynamic event calendar by using PHP and MySQL with live demo example. So this link also I will share in my video description, so you can get this link from my video description. So let's see the step 1. Now you need to create one table. Here we created one table like calendar event master. So simply you need to copy paste this event calendar master SQL and simply run here. Go to your PHP MyAdmin and you can copy paste this create table script and execute that script. I already created that table, so you can see here these are recently added event, right? Now once you create your table, now you need to create one file like a dynamic-full-calendar.html. Simply you need to create one HTML file, right? So we created one folder like dynamic-full-calendar, and inside this folder we create one file like dynamic-full-calendar.html. I simply open that file, right? Now here you can see in a step 2 we included some library which is required to set up live calendar or calendar in your website or in your page. So simply copy paste this library and set up that library inside your head tag. So here you can see I already copy paste that code. So simply you need to copy paste that code and include that library. Here you can see we included fullcalendar.min.css, jquery.min.js, and this required or important library which is used for your calendar. So simply copy paste that code, and here you can see we used the bootstrap framework for designing purpose. So we also included that bootstrap CSS, right? And if you want to learn more about full calendar, so you can simply search about full calendar, and that document also available, so you can prepare that document also, right? So here you can see. Okay, now once you include your CSS and JavaScript library, in step 3 you need to add one division with ID is equal to calendar. So simply you need to create one division where we will display this event calendar whole calendar will be displayed inside this division. So we need to create one division with id is equal to calendar. So you must have to remember, you need to take one id is equal to calendar. Now in step 4, whenever I click on any date or any days, at that time one pop-up will display. For that pop-up, we need to add some HTML code. So here you can see in step 4, we create one pop-up dialog box HTML code. So simply you need to copy paste this code into your file, right? So this code will be used to display our pop-up. So whenever I click on any date, at that time here this pop-up will display. So for that code, I already copy paste that code. So here you can see this is my pop-up code, where we will take one text box for event name, one text box for event start, and one for event end date. And here we take one button. So simply that code will be writing here. Here you can see event name, one text box for event name, one for start date, one for end date, and here we take one button like save event, right? Save event. So this is code for your dialog box. Now in step 5, you must have to remember, you need to configure your JavaScript code. So you need to copy paste this code. That JavaScript code is most important. So I already copy paste that code in my file. So here you can see my JavaScript code will be starting from here and ending with script tag end. Now the most important is what? Whenever I click on save button, right? When I click on that save button, at that time I call one function. Here you can see we call one function save underscore event, right? So whenever I click on save event, then this function save underscore event function will call. So this function already we have declared inside our script tag. Here you can see we declare this function here, right? So when I click on this save button, at that time I take all the details from the pop-up. So here you can see that the text box name is what? We can see event name. So one by one we'll take all the details inside this variable, event start date, event end date. First we check, is it everything is entered or not. So whenever I click on save button, at that time that validation also we have set up here. Now once your validation is complete, then you need to call one Ajax block. By using this Ajax block, we will save our calendar data inside our database or in our table. So here you can see we call one file like save event.php. So I already created that file. So let's open that file, and here you can see first we required a database connection. I already shared that file or connection file with you in my blog, so you can download that file from this source code button. So you can also get this file and connection file and all that. So here you can see we take one variable event name. So whenever anything will be writing in this block, suppose, right, that DBS will be stored inside this event name, and when you take this event start, that event start will be stored inside this event start date variable. So that all the data coming from this Ajax block. So we already passed that all the data by using this Ajax block. So once your all data stored inside this variable, we take one variable insert underscore query and writing insert query here or insert statement here, and dynamically we pass that all the variable and that variable value store inside this table. Now once you complete your insert statement, that pass inside this MySQLi underscore query. So this is how you can save your data inside your table, right? So whenever I click on save event, at that time here you can see event added successfully. That message also we can pass from here, event added successfully, right? And that message will display here, right? Response.message, response.status is equal to true, because we are passing status is equal to true and message is equal to event added successfully. So this is how we save data inside the table, right? So here also we can check that. So here you can see that a record will be stored inside the table. Now, how to display this all the data on calendar dynamically, right? So whenever I refresh that page, at that time I get data from the database. But how is it possible? So here you can see we writing one document.ready function. It means what? Whenever your document or your page will be refreshed, at that time we call one function like display events, right? So whenever you refresh your page, at that time also here you can see whenever you inspect, at that time you click on network, so you can easy to know how your display event will call. So whenever I refresh that page, here you can see display event.php file will call and return all, or Ajax call will be called and get data from the database. But how is it possible? Here you can see we writing one function like document.ready, and inside that document.ready we call one function like display events, right? So here you can see that a display event function we created here. Now for that you must have to declare one array for events. So that here you can see this all the event we will store inside this array. So for that we created one array. Now this is a simple Ajax block which we have already created in insert block. That type of Ajax block we need to create. So here we created one Ajax block, and here you can see we call one more file like display event.php. That file also share in my blog, so you can download from that. So this display event php file will be called while Ajax block is called. So here you can see whenever your Ajax block call, at that time this file will call display event.php, and here you can see first you need to require your connection file, right? And after that we writing one select query which is used for get data from your table. So simply I writing down some query to get data from the database. Now once your data will coming from the database, and that data will be get and store inside this result variable or result array. So that result array will access by using MySQLi underscore fetch array, and by using this while loop we will store one by one value and store that value inside this data underscore array. So here you can see, or you must have to remember, this attribute you must have to pass, like title, start, and color, and URL. So in event ID we will pass the event ID, but in a title you can see we pass our event name. Or start, it means your start date, which is converted with this format, year, month, and date. And also we need to pass end and date with same format, year, month, and date. You must have to remember, you must have to pass this format, otherwise your event will be not display based on your date, right? So you must have to, you can also pass here your color name. So here you can see we dynamically pass our color name. So you can see that color will be changed every time. So you can, if you want to fix color, then you must have to pass like this, green, red, or whatever. Here we dynamically pass our color name, so that's why I use substr and unique function, unique ID function, right? And if you want to pass your URL, then you must have to pass from this URL attribute. So you must have to pass this default attribute like title, start, and color, and URL. If you want to custom, then you can add this custom attribute. So once your data array will be complete, and that data array you must have to pass inside this JSON response. So once we pass status, message, and data, right? So here you can see whenever I refresh, at that time here you can see inside the network, here you can see in a network, in a display event.php file will call, and here you can see status will come as a true, message is successfully, and data coming like this format, right? So once your data coming from the database by using PHP file or Ajax block, so this PHP file work is completed. Now once your data coming from the database, here you can see we writing one success block. So inside this success block, here you can see we got a response from the database. Here you can see whenever you click on refresh button, at that time this response will coming from the database, right? Now how to set your response on your calendar? So for that, here we created one array, events array, right? So our response will be stored inside this array by using this push method. So one by one will access our all the details like title, start, and color, which we have already passed from our PHP file. Here you can see title, start. So that attribute you can access from here. Now one by one will store inside our array, right? So our all the events will store inside this events array. Now once you store, here you can see we call one division ID, which is already we have created here. Here you can see we created that division. This is a blank division, right, with ID is equal to calendar. So inside this division we will store, or we will display our all the events, right? So here you can see we call calendar.fullcalendar. This is a predefined method which is provided by fullcalendar.js, and here you can see we set some attribute. This is a full calendar attribute. Here you can also change this attribute, whatever your requirement you can change the attribute. And select attribute is used whenever you click on any date, at that time this pop-up will display and get the date, which date you have selected. So for that this block will be used or select will be used, right? So here you can see we get the date and also that date will converted here. So here you can see, suppose I click on 1st of August. So here you can see that get date 1st of August. So how we'll get that date? So by using this select attribute, here you can see we get start date and end date, and that start date, and also here you can see, suppose I uncomment this and uploaded that file, and you can see how event calendar will return date while you select any date. So suppose I click on 1st of August. So this is how return this full date. So that's why I converted that date by using this moment function, right? So I change that format, and that format will be stored, or that date will be stored inside this ID. It means when you click on, so inside this text box I store that date value, event start. So this code simply use while you select or while you click on any date, right? Now here you can see events. So events will store inside this events array, and that events array will pass inside this events attribute. And here you can see we writing events render. This is a extra code. If you don't need this code, suppose you need to use your dynamic event ID. So if you want to delete your ID or update some data, so at that time this code will be useful for you. So this is extra code. If you don't need this code, then you can remove it, but in future that code also will be useful for you. So that's why I added that code, right? So in this full calendar method, you must have to pass this some attributes, and the most important, you must have to pass your events response data inside this events attribute. Now whenever you set up in this code into your website or into your project, or if you get any difficulty while setting this code, please write it down your comment in comment section, or simply you need to subscribe our channel. Why I am saying you need to subscribe our channel? Because I writing down so many blogs and making so many videos for you, which is helpful for your future project, or I hope you will like our video. And don't forget to comment, because once you comment, then I get so many motivation, right? So thanks for watching and keep subscribers. Thank you.